What are these tariffs really costing?
Well, they haven't gone into effect yet, and they will, at the beginning, be small. I think the real cost that's at stake here is that we're on the road this year to having 400,000 or 500,000 illegal immigrants. There's a cost to the schools they're going to enter without English, the hospitals they'll use through emergency room without any health insurance, food stamp programs, police services, etc. Huge social cost. Everyone's talking about the tariffs. The big cost in America is going to be of these illegal immigrants.
Well, what are these tariffs a symptom of? What's really going on?
Three failures, in my view. Number one, failure in Latin America. We have Central American societies that are just imploding. They're failed states. And part of that is the Mexican government and the corruption of their officials at the border, all these smugglers, drugs, as well as people, etc. The second failure is the U.S. political system. We have a broken immigration system. It used to be one side of the equation, the Democratic Party, which was the party of the blue-collar worker and the laborer. Now it's of the party of open borders. So that's a real disconnect in the politics now because they don't want to change the immigration laws, which are allowing all this to happen. And the third is really the decline in consensus in America of what citizenship is versus citizen of the United States versus citizen of the world. And when you have that view, then there's nothing to protect because really we should be open borders for everyone.
So you're a businessman, so I don't imagine that you're a fan of tariffs. What's the solution here?
Well, if I was in business, I would be talking to government officials in the U.S. and Mexico about what to do about this larger problem. Tariffs aren't the problem, they're a symptom, right? The border between the U.S. and Mexico is 2,000 miles. And we only have, 700 miles of border. The border wall, the border between U.S. and Guatemala is 500 miles. That's 25%. Why don't these two governments work together to actually have a border wall in Guatemala-Mexican border? Because right now it's just you walk across the bridge. And so they get on a train and they come here, and Mexico is a pass-through society. That has to change. They're the first entrants under the Geneva Convention of a safe country. They have a legal international obligation to keep these people. Instead, they ship them to us. What if we took 500,000 people, shipped into the Canadian border? I think we'd have a different problem with Canada.
So the 2020 election is right around the corner. One of Trump's campaign promises was to repeal the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, and replace it. And we now have the USMCA, the US-Mexico-Canada Trade Agreement. There are a lot of concerns that these tariffs will jeopardize the USMCA, which is a priority for the Trump administration. Will it?
It will. I think that this is a terrible situation for everybody concerned. I'm all for the new USMCA. We ought to have that passed yesterday. And these tariffs are going to muddy all that. All of a sudden, the two senators from Iowa spoke out because they sent a lot of corn to Mexico. They don't want to have tariffs. They don't want to have these problems. But everybody either going to work together or they're going to hang together here. And unless the congressional leaders in both parties, and the Mexican government and the White House, if they don't start working together like mature adults on these problems that I've listed here, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and we don't want that.
Michael Maibach, great to have you back. Appreciate you being with us.